Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Frenchy and this is my Cayenne project car. When I bought this car and I did a scan on it, one of the first things that came up was an issue with the engine. It had a misfire. I resolved that by changing the spark plugs, but I think the engine still runs a bit lumpier than it actually should do. So at low speed, there's a little bit of a judder, which some people say is a transfer case. I don't think it is, because there is an error in the DME still, which is the digital mechanical electronic brain thing that runs the engine. So do another little scan and I'll show you what the fault code is.
A few moments later.
So as if to make a liar out of me, I've just scanned the car and it says no fault codes detected, which is unusual because the last few times I've scanned it, there's been a fault code, right? And that fault code is the valve lifting hydraulic solenoid. There's two of them. They sit in the back of the head. There's another two at the front of the head, which are, I think, a duration. They work on the pulleys in some way, and they adjust the duration of the camshaft timing. But the ones that I'm interested in are the ones on the back of the head. One of the banks, I think his bank 2 it refers to it as, has come up with a fault. It always had a fault on there. I think that is what's causing the engine to run a bit lumpy. So what I've done is I've ordered two. Because I'm a stingy bastard, I didn't want to order genuine Porsche ones because they're £140 each. And there's two of them, so that's obviously nearly 300 quid. So what I did was I went on to AliExpress and ordered some. And they came yesterday. So this is the unit. It's got a little bit of mesh in the end of it and a couple of little holes for the oil to go in and out of. That sort of sits in the back of the head and allows oil into different places to change the valve lift. And this is what's causing me the problem. Obviously these were a lot cheaper than the original Porsche ones, but the question now is, do they work? We're going to get them into the car and we're going to find out. Right, so the one I'm interested in is down there behind that rusty looking thing, which is the high pressure fuel pump. And apparently the way you get to it is from underneath. Right, so we're underneath the car. This is what I can see. And the thing I want to get to is kind of up there. You can see it's a bit blurry. I can't really get the phone to focus on it, but that's the plug there I need to get to. The problem with this is that that's a lot further away than I thought it was, and there's absolutely no chance am I going to get my arm up there. One, I don't have a metre long arm, and two, it's not as thin as a screwdriver. So I don't know how people have done this from underneath here without taking the exhaust down, perhaps, which I won't be doing. So I can't even get this to focus. It's because there's so much stuff in the way. It's a pain. But essentially the thing is there. Right, that might have got it a bit. So that's the plug that kind of goes onto the back of it. It's bolted into the back of the head. And this thing here with a little like top hat, that's the high pressure fuel pump. I might have to abort for now and have a rethink. But you absolutely cannot get your arm up there and undo it from the bottom unless you are some super flexible, super skinny armed gibbon. Well, as we can't get to the valves from underneath, I'm gonna have to start taking it all apart at the top here and trying to get in the official way, if you like, which is I think which way the manual says to get into. So all this plastic's now to get removed, and then take the high pressure fuel pump off and take the vacuum pump off and get to it that way. So let's get all this stripped down. This is all pretty straightforward. It's just those beauty panels that I've got to take off and that rubber seal that goes around the bonnet. And then the only real difficulty I had was getting those wipers off. As you can see here, I've tried a bit of lubricant to free them up, but they just simply won't come off. I've used that bit of tape there to mark where the wiper blades go back on the arms in case I put them back around the wrong place, but I really spent a lot longer taking these wiper arms off than I probably should have done. This is probably the longest single piece of work I had to do on this car, was taking those sodding wipers off. So I've got to the point where I need to pull the wiper arms off to get this plastic panel here off, and this one's come off okay, but that one and the driver's one is well on there. I have got a puller that I used on the Range Rover, but it's not big enough to pull these arms off, so I'm gonna have to go and try and find a puller to pull these arms off. So I've ordered a wiper arm puller to pull these wiper arms off, because they just aren't coming off. Underneath this plastic panel is like a screw there and a screw there under these little dimples, which allows you to remove this plenum panel thing, which to gain access to the high pressure fuel pump and the vacuum pump. This side, I managed to get that screw out with my fingers, take the other two screws out, take the PDCC reservoir off this thing, unclip these wires, and then that panel pulls out. This is the panel. It literally just levers out. I think getting it back in would be an absolute pig without taking this plastic thing off, so I have ordered a tool to take all the wiper arms off and stuff to help me put it all back together. But for now, I thought I reckon I can get that out, and I can. And now we can get access to the high pressure fuel pump down here. Right, so there's the high pressure fuel pump, and what I need to do on the back here, there's this plastic, there's this metal, they call it a crash bracket, that's held on by 3 10mm bolts. Got to get those 3 10mm bolts out, probably with a ratchet spanner inside here, and then I've got to undo this one here, I think, which is the primary high pressure fuel line. There's another fuel line here, which I think this is the low pressure one. I don't have to remove that, because I think I could just leave that in place and pull the high pressure line off, because it's rigid, and then just pull this pump out and hopefully just fit it up on top of the engine out of the way. Before we do that though, I have taken the 2 fuses out for the fuel pumps, so this doesn't start squirting fuel everywhere. Right, hopefully I've got that in a position where you can see what I'm doing. Try and get onto this spanner. Right, I've got one bolt here. Right, there's, ouch. There's the second bolt. That heat shield thing there is sharp, and that's right on my fingers. There's the bolt. The bracket goes up that way. You see it's a bit rusty. Let's just try and see if we can even loosen these. Oh, that's not too bad. Oh. Right, that's it. That's the 3 bolts that hold that pump on are now loose. I wanted to undo this high pressure fuel line. Hope fuel doesn't square out everywhere. Oh. Okay, there's fuel there. I think that was it. That little squirt there looks like, thank God that was all it was. Wiggle there, and just a little bit of persuasion. Oh, there we go. It's out. Oh dear. Right, let's try and get this up and out. Not as easy as that sounds, but it is coming. Aha! What's holding it? It's caught. Ah, there's a electrical connector there. Neglected to disconnect. There we go. So there is the high pressure fuel pump. So what I've done is I've got these little bungs that I bought off of Amazon. A little set of these, all different bungs. I've just bunged one of them in here. I mean, they're silicone, so they should be okay in the presence of fuel. I mean, it's not falling to pieces or anything, or leaving any debris behind, so I reckon that should be okay for now. Let's put that back in there. And then my little valve that I want to replace is just here. No, I twisted it. Oh, look. There it is. There's your thing. Push down this little plug. That should then Oh, yeah, of course it should, but it doesn't. There we go. Right, there it is. Right, so that is the old one. That's the original Porsche part there. And this is the one I bought from China. Fingers crossed it works.
Yeah.
Let's get it in there. Hang on, where's the plug gone? Put the plug on first. That way around. And get it in the hole. Done. Here's the view from the back of the head. That's where the fuel pump goes in the back of the camshaft, and that's the replacement valve I've just put in. As you can probably see, I've skipped over a little section. I had to get that plastic trim panel thing that was here out. In order to get that out, I had to take the wiper arms off. They were a lot more challenging than I thought they were going to be. I don't think those wiper arms have ever been off, and if they have, it hasn't been for a long time, because I just literally couldn't pull them off. Normally if you give them a little wiggle, I put a bit of WD-40 down there, didn't work. So I bought this little tool. It's like a wiper arm puller remover thing. It took that one off without too much fuss. This one's like a little hexagon drive thing. That one came off without too much fuss, but this one here, the driver's one, which is like a traditional spline, just won't come off, to the point where I actually snapped the little fingers off of this puller, and I had to go down to the shed there and weld a new bit on and then grind it flat again, so it actually gripped around the back of the wiper arm. When I got it on there, normally you just sort of turn that thing around, it pushes down like a puller and it pulled the arm off, but it still wouldn't do it, and it started to deform this thing. So I started tapping on it and God knows what, and I've burred the end of the tool over now, so it's pretty much useless. I mean, it's only £8, but it's done one job, and I reckon this is probably good for nothing now. But even that didn't get it off. So I had to put some heat on it, which I did really carefully with a hot air gun. And I got it really, really hot, and then gave this another tap while it was on there, like that. It finally sprung off, but it probably took me best part of, I reckon, 2.5 to 3 hours of effort just to get those wipers off, so I could get this plenum panel thing here out. And now I can see the vacuum pump that I need to take off the back of this side of the engine. The only thing I can get in there is a T10 or E10 with an adapter and this quarter drive socket. I can't actually get anything else in there because there's not a lot of room, because there's two hoses that run right here. Pixie hands would be really helpful here, but I don't have pixie hands. Here we are. Right, there's the valve seated back in and done up, and that is where the vacuum pump sits. Right, so here's the little valve that I've changed, and it doesn't appear to have too much like crud on the little gauze at the end there, but I did clean the other one, the first one I took out, with some brake cleaner and an airline, because if I shake this, you can just about hear that. You can just about hear the mechanism moving. Well, the other one you couldn't do that, and the new ones, when you shook them, you could actually hear the plunger going up and down. And I applied 12 volts to it to see what would happen, see if it'd make any noise. And the other side didn't do anything, didn't move, didn't make a noise, didn't do anything. So I think it might have been stuck. But after I'd sprayed some brake cleaner in there, I tried the 12 volts again, and it actually clicks. So I don't know whether they just get blocked up with old oil. Maybe a clean might do this. I guess that's up to you if you want to take it all apart and risk cleaning it, putting it back together to find it doesn't work, or whether you just want to spend the money and replace them. Right, well, I've got the vacuum pump off the car here. Pump sort of sits at that angle when it's on the engine, and oil gets pumped in here through this little gauze, obviously lubricates the internal side of the pump, and then it drains out through here back into the engine, back into the camshaft. So finding oil in these is quite normal, and when I get it apart you'll see why it would need oil inside it. Prop it up on this tin. Oop. Right, so you got this sliding piece here and these two little sort of followers that run around the outside of this cup. You can see there's quite a bit of oil in there. I've cleaned it out now. You can see that there is some wear marks in there from where this has contacted that. Now, what I might actually have a go at doing is just running my polishing tool on the Dremel around inside there, just to kind of, I don't know, polish it up a little bit. There's a little sort of lip there, which is probably causing a little bit of performance degradation, but it seems to be working all right. And then, because these things here, they run against the inside of that bit. Now these don't look marked at all. That all looks good to me. Get a bit of auto sole in here. I'm going to give it a little polish with the Dremel, see what happens.
One eternity later.
So you guys would have seen this before on the video a couple of minutes ago. Well, for me it's been a bit longer, but I think that looks quite a lot cleaner than it did. I mean, it's not perfect in there, it's still going to show some signs of wear, but that is much more even in there now. It's really smooth, and that will be a much better surface, I think, for those parts to run on. So it was worth spending a bit of time to giving that little clean up, I think. Inside of all pumps and bearings and stuff, the shinier normally the better, because it's less friction, so I'm happy with that. God, that feels so slippery now, I can barely bloody hold it. Goes there, and then this one goes on that end, but there we go. Right, this is clean, I'm happy that's clean. There, so I'm just going to give it a quick. Right, nothing's fallen down from where it should be in there, because otherwise I'd hear it rattling around. So it's obviously all stayed where it should do. Okay, that's it back together, and it's definitely making a noise. But there's not really a lot to go wrong inside them, as you can probably see there. There's a couple of sliders. There's a slider in there, and those two pieces that go around the outside of it. But unless there's massive wear in there, I reckon you'll be all right. I think the only thing that we'll look out for is that little mesh there getting blocked up like debris and stopping the oil getting pumped in there. So my new Viton O-rings have just turned up. This one and this one are for the oil pump, and this one here is for the high pressure fuel pump. So I've fitted them on there already. They fit there perfect. Let's get it on the let's get it back on the car. So let's have a go first at trying to get this pump back in, this vacuum pump. I've already put the solenoid in down there. I need to get that hose out of the way and just try and sort of wiggle this back in, hopefully. Line it up on the camshaft. Okay, well, I mean, I think that can only go in one way. So let's just get those bolts back in, give the pump a little wiggle round to try to align them, because I can't see shit. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, that's that. Get your little vacuum line back on. Right, that's the vacuum pump back in and the pipes back on. Now for the fuel pump. Right, now there's supposed to be a plastic cap in here that holds this part into the camshaft, but I don't think I need that at the moment, because I'm going to take this fuel pump off again at some point in the future, because in there is a spring-loaded diaphragm that pushes on the oil contained within the high pressure fuel pump. There's special hydraulic oil in here, and that measurement in there is supposed to be less than 20 mil. It's 27 mil on this one, which means that this pump is on the way out. I don't want to take it apart just yet, because the car is actually still running all right, but I'm going to gather all the seals to do this, to refurbish this properly, and then I'll take it all off again and refurbish it and do a separate video on that. It took me a while to locate the pump back in there, because I've put an O-ring on, a high temperature Viton O-ring, which is round, and the one that comes out of the seal is flat, which makes it a bit more difficult to get it in, but it will seal just as well, hopefully. Well, I'm counting on it sealing, because if it doesn't, it will have oil pissing out everywhere. So that's the pump back in. Now I've got to get the bolts in that hold it. I've actually got hail coming down. Can you see this? Can you actually see the hail landing on me? Look. It's actually pieces of hail. Right. So that is pretty much everything done back up, actually. Plug this sensor back in, if I forget. So now, despite the fact everything is laying all over the place in here, I should actually better start this up now. Can you see that hail? That's actual hail. Just going to check for oil leaks with my little mirror. Loads of smoke. I can see that valve. There's no oil near it. Let's see if this vacuum pump's working all right now. I can't get that off, so I'm guessing it's working. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's cracked quite a lot of vacuum, that pump, so it's definitely working. Up okay. I'm not going to put it back together right now because this weather is diabolical. I'm just going to shut it all up and come back out when it's not pissing it down the rain or hailing. Next day, no hail. Let's try and get the rest of it back together. Let me tell you, getting that plenum panel back in over there was not an easy task at all. Everything just kept getting snagged. It's quite tight to get it in there, but finally managed it. You probably saw some of the frustration on my face there. So if you're going to do this job, be prepared. When you put that back in, it's the right pain in the arse. There's that little black thing that goes behind the high pressure fuel pump. Apparently it's called the crash panel or something. I forgot to put it in before I put the plenum panel back in, which would have made it a hell of a lot easier because I could just put my hand straight down there. Because I put the panel back in, now I can barely get to it. Obviously I have to lay like completely over this, and because I'm not 50 foot long, my feet are off the ground trying to get to it. Got 2 bolts in, the last one's being a bit of a pain. Right, as a quick side job, because I feel like I obliterated these wiper arms when I pulled them off with that puller, I'm going to give them a quick spray, tidy them up a bit. Hopefully you can see this. Move it, there you go. Give them a little spray. Right, this is the end result of the wipers getting sprayed. I think they look a lot better than they did, and you can't really see any of the damage there where I graunched them off. Well, I've been running around in the Porsche for a couple of weeks, so I'll give you a real update on how those valve controllers are performing, and it's been perfectly fine. I've had no issues with the car at all since I fitted those cheaper AliExpress valve controllers, so I reckon as it stands at the moment that they're a bit of a bargain. Much cheaper than the Porsche ones, still working fine. I don't do masses of mileage in this car anyway, but they're working great. Has it made any difference to the way the car runs? I don't think so. So maybe that fault that was coming up was a red herring. It didn't actually mean anything, whether it was working or not. I do need to get the intake manifold off and have a little look inside there to see if it's all coked up, because I want to change the starter motor. So while I got the intake manifold off and changing the starter motor, I'm going to have a go at cleaning all the injectors out, have a go at trying to decoke the ports. I'm going to get, hopefully my mate Neil to come around with his sandblaster, and we're going to get some walnut in there and give it all a good cleaning out, and hopefully that won't turn into a disaster. So that'll be coming up in one of the following videos. If you want to see that happen, then hit the subscribe button. Again, as everyone says, it doesn't cost you anything, and it does mean a lot to us, because obviously it means that people are watching the videos that I'm putting out. Thanks for your support so far. See you on the next video. Oh, I dropped my phone.